Every year, the brightest NBA stars head to Las Vegas for Summer League. So today on the board, we're going to go through the top 10 picks in the draft to show you how they performed and talk about some surprising great performers and also some disappointing ones as well. NBA Summer League is in full swing, so we got Pips in today to talk about some of the best performers and maybe a little bit of some of the worst performers. We'll talk about the biggest names and how they performed in Las Vegas. Drop a like if you're enjoying the content brought to you by The Board, part of the Hammerbag Network, and subscribe for more content just like this. But Pips, obviously a lot to get to, so let's get right into the full swing of things here. We're going to talk about the top 10. We're going to talk about some other Flyers, other different players who played well, and we'll talk a little bit about the Rockets and the Raptors, of course, because that is where our interest is in. And the biggest name on the Summer League and any Summer League roster was Victor Wembenyama. He's already done in the Summer League. The Spurs have seen what they needed to see, but your thoughts on Victor after the disappointing first game and the good recovery for the second game?
Yeah, I mean, like we all kind of expected him the second game to just be way better. If first game is floor for him being so good on defense, then yeah, that's
5 blocks, was it?
yeah. But he had some issues with the trying too much in the first game, like catching the ball outside and going into 5 dribbles to get inside. That didn't work well for him. But in the second game, much more calm, much more efficient, and look great. And we'll see so much from him moving forward. Like he is just tremendous.
It doesn't help that the Spurs brought a pretty poor team who can't throw an entry pass to him. But I think the biggest thing for Victor is that we've all talked about like the offensive game. There hasn't been enough discussion about his defense because this is definitely a potential DPOI candidate. It might be a perennial one in his career. What have you made of
His,
that side of the ball?
yeah, his defensive floor is like being all NBA. Probably like he's
Yeah.
on that side. We are all almost certain that he will look tremendous, and offense will need some time to get there. But yeah, he's young, crazy, and if you are contributing on the other side on an elite level, if you are decent on the other side, you'll be great for the first season. But I think he will throughout the season, throughout after the last first 15 to 10 games, you'll see great Victor on offense.
Yeah,
It's
agreed. Just needs some time to get in. Only 2 games and he's done. They don't want to risk any injuries. But let's talk about the guy who went second overall. He went second, got booed by his own fans. The mascot, the famous video of the mascot even upset with the pick. Brandon Miller hasn't looked great for the Charlotte Hornets here. And number 3 pick, when he did play Scoot Henderson, has looked fantastic. Talk to me about Brandon Miller and what you've seen from him.
So what I've seen from Miller is a lot of struggles, not being confident enough to do a lot. Even though he played on a terrible team, this is still poor showing from him. Below 40% efficiency on field goals, and he kind of improved very much on the last game. The last game was his best game, but yeah, that's the second pick. We expected way more from the second pick. We didn't have him at second pick. I think if we take a look in the like 5 years, he'll be much closer to maybe outside the top 10 than being top 3, top 5 guys. I
Wow.
think he's a good player. I think Brandon Miller is a good player, but as I said earlier, like some 5 to 10 range being picked, and I think 2 was reached, and I think it will be shown down the, especially when we get to the next guys, how they did look.
Yeah, I will preface by saying, it's a very small sample in these summer league games, so you don't put a ton of stock into it. But typically, when a player plays really well in summer league, it's kind of like, okay, now I have to wait and see. When a player plays really poorly in summer league, that's usually a very bad sign. So playing well doesn't mean a lot. Playing poorly does tend to mean
Yeah,
much
yeah,
more.
yeah, I agree. And it's usually when player performs poor in the second year is a kind of huge tell. There are some guys that did
Yeah.
perform terrible in the first season and ended up being great players. So that could be the thing, but not impressed as of now.
Yeah, so we'll go to the 3 and 4 pick. I remember even in our pre-draft stuff, we said if Scoot goes second, Portland might want to look at Thompson at the 3rd overall pick. And We didn't see a lot of them, to be fair, but yeah, Scoot Henderson and Amin Thompson looked fantastic. Wow. You talked to me about these two players.
Yeah, they played one against another and guarded one against another,
Yeah,
so
that was
it was
awesome.
kind of awesome. Both fantastic feel from the game, vision, creating for others is just another level. I would say Amen was a bit better on defense. Crazy, crazy, crazy defense from Amen Thompson. Great defense, great, unbelievable size. But Scoot Henderson had some very smooth mid-range shooting shots that went in. So he's kind of better on the shooting end and punish some under the screen going. So I would say both crazy athletic, Amen being better there, Amen being tremendous defender, at least in that game, and Scoot has a way better shooting futures, at least for this
Yes.
season. Yeah.
I
So
think the
yeah,
way, yeah, I think the
yeah,
way Amin Thompson has played kind of makes you a little bit sad with the way the Rockets handled free agency, just because you want to give this guy as many touches as possible,
yeah,
but that's just not going to happen this season.
yeah. He looked ready. He looked ready.
He definitely did. Another guy looking ready, his twin brother, Osar, fifth overall pick to the Pistons. Similar player, except Amin's more of the point guard. Osar's more of the off guard. But man, Osar is also looking exceptional. I'm really excited to see, mostly for Osar, if he can get a serviceable outside shot, because if he does, this is an unbelievable talent as well. Well, yeah, your
Yeah,
thoughts
so
on
far,
him?
so far not looking great for shooting part,
No.
but whenever he was involved, whenever he touched the ball, something great happened. Tremendous quick decision making, unbelievable in transition, and the best part of him is he is a pest on defense, like all on ball, like crazy, crazy good defense. Locked so many guys in these short stints of playing, crazy, crazy good,
Th-
very athletic as his brother. So yeah, expecting a lot from him. But the thing about the Emmett Thompson brothers, they look so mature. Like this is like their third year. So that's the
yeah,
biggest thing
crazy for
about.
guys coming out of overtime elite with respect to that program to be looking this ready. And crazy that this is like the mold of a player you want. You want this raw athletic freak with these good like IQ tendencies in the league. It was so weird how all these mocks had him going like lower in the top 10, maybe outside the top 10. But it looks like Pistons did well on this pick. Let's go further down to Anthony Black. Your worries for Black going into the draft have kind of showcased here. Good playmaker, rebounder, defender, but scoring is definitely a problem for this player.
Yeah, he did unbelievably great on rebounding. Had some very flashy assists and good vision, but he had trouble beating the player in front of him and scoring like overall. And his shooting is one of the worst in the draft. Like for a guy that has the ball in his hand so much. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely concern. But yeah, he wasn't great. He was kind of decent overall.
I'm a big fan of the players, so I'll say for some players like this where they're very athletic, sometimes the jump in athleticism to the NBA it's a lot bigger than it's made out to be, and it's difficult for players to adjust. So when you only gain advantage by being athletic, now you have to find some other things, which he's going to have to do, and also playing at the NBA level when he has better players around him, where he's going to have a bit more space. We'll see when he's not the
But
focal point. There could
I'll
be
say
improvement,
like
but the shooting's a problem for sure.
yeah. So we have the same thing, similar thing with Amen. He was fourth pick and Black was sixth pick, so not so much between them.
Yeah, yeah.
One is crazy athletic without shooting. The other one is crazy athletic without shooting.
Well, oh
And
hey,
Amen
Amin
looks like
Thompson,
yeah,
comparing their
next
athleticism,
level,
like
next level.
it's next level.
Yeah, that's for sure. But he got to there his spot so much easier than Black.
You're
So
right. You're right. You're right. It's a fair point as well. It's a fair point as well. So, I mean, that's definitely something for Orlando to look at. But yeah, you're right. If a guy like Amin can figure out Osar as well, then certainly Black could do so
yeah,
as
there
well.
will be so much time
Of
in this.
course. Another athletic freak who I was shocked to see go as high as he did, Bilal Coulibaly. I was high on him. It wasn't this high, but kind of as expected. He's got a long way to go here, but early signs, can the Wizards be happy with this pick?
Yeah, it was decent showing. Showed everything we expected from him. Shot is still not there. The line transition was awesome. Scoring side was decent, good. He was on rebounding well, good on defense. Yeah, decent showing from Bill. So yeah, very raw as expected. So
And the player that the Pacers got out of this one instead with this Koulibaly trade is Jarris Walker. He's talented, clearly. He's not been at his best, I'd say, but this looks like a good pick for them to be happy with.
yeah, he's shown some great flashes of passing, rebounding, defending, scoring, everything. Just not efficient enough. But like unlike some other players, he looked very promising. Raw, but very promising, and could be a good player to watch in future, and will fit greatly with this Indiana
Yeah.
Pacers quick paced roster because he has some quick decision making passes and in scoring. And yeah, I like the showing of him.
And the injured Hendricks, ninth pick, did not play. So let's go to the final pick in the top 10. Cason Wallace, who OKC traded up and took that Bertans contract to get. I remember you and me were talking about his first game, how impressive he was, but didn't have a great game in the second or third game. But overall, I like what I see from the player. But how about yourself?
Yeah, same. Like it's 3 games, so the variance is obviously high. His shot looked tremendous in the first game, especially the confidence, the spots he took, and everything. But in the second game and third game, he struggled a lot. So we kind of don't know what's the reality. But ending up with 32% from the field, yeah, not great at the end, but saw some good flashes and he's great on defense, so that will help. And for 10 pick, look pretty good.
So let's talk about some of the other big names, not the big names, but the most impressive players from Summer League thus far. One of them in particular is Keontae George. You pre-draft were loving what you saw from the player. I myself wasn't huge on what the player could bring to the NBA, but he has been hyper efficient, putting up over 20 points per game, just torching these defenses. He has looked really, really good, and the Jazz have to be happy with him at 16th overall.
So I watched a ton of videos of him before the draft, and everything I watched was looking like awesome, crazy shot making. Everything was looking awesome, and then you go look at the stats, and it says like 37% from the field. I was like, this look how
Yeah,
is this possible? And then you see like, okay, he's taking difficult shots. That's it. But the thing is, it's only efficiency, and he somehow someone said like he was dealing with some injury, was kind of overweight a bit in the last season, and then he now came super ready, and he can beat players way more in front of him, and he was shooting the lights out, getting to the rim. He had a double double with 10 assist game, 30 and 10. That's even in the summer league. That's crazy. And yeah, he looked great, and I expect a lot of it from him moving forward.
yeah. Another really interesting one was Leonard Miller. I believe he went 33rd overall. I thought he was going to go in the early 20s. I even thought there was an outside chance if things didn't go the Raptors' way, they would have taken him at 13. But 33, it's a deep draft, it looks like, but 33 looks far too low for Leonard Miller, and he has looked great so far in Summer
Yeah,
League
looking
as
like a
well.
like a steal. It was interesting because he played in the G League, and it's good. And like he had great numbers, great size, and it's not like he was under the spotlight. He was directly at spotlight playing next to Scoot Henderson.
Mhm.
So it's kind of weird that he falls so deep down. I expected him to go like 20 something, 20 to 25, getting 33. Like easy pick for Wolves, and he showed great. And yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
think
I believe they traded in for him. They saw him available this low, and they did. They went in and traded for him to get him from the Spurs, and that looks
yeah.
like a great decision. Because we're on we've gone quite a while here. Let's go some quick fire on some big name on some impressive names here. I'll start here and say Andrew Nemhard playing summer league, 32nd overall pick last year. Get him out of summer league. He is far too good for summer league. That looks like an excellent pick from the Pacers to get that low in the draft. But any other big names you want to quickly mention here before we talk about some of maybe the players who didn't play well?
Big names played well. My guy, Jabari Smith, terrible. In the first half, I was cursing at him and our pick, and then he came out second half, scored 30 points. Next game, 38 points. Yeah, he looked unbelievable. And the interesting thing about Jabari Smith is how we rate players on the years they were drafted, but Jabari is 6 months younger than Brandon Miller, for example.
Good
And
point.
yeah,
Yep.
that would be the thing. Like we should rate the guys at their age more moving forward. And yeah, I like Max Christie. Great showing for the Lakers. They did it again. Some Austin Reeves flashes of the last season. Jordan Walsh from the Boston looking like a crazy monster skinhead, and now he's showing up offensive powers with 18 points, 37% from three. Chris Murray looking like his brother, exactly like him,
Yeah.
shooting exactly like him. So that's kind of valuable pick to have that great shooter in this league. And last one, Lester Quinones. I don't know if it's pronounced like that, but
I believe it's Lester Quinones.
Quinones. Okay, Lester Quinones. Yeah, he 23.4 points a game, shooting 41% from three. Crazy efficient. 23.4 points, crazy efficient from that. Some guy that no one even expected to
Yeah.
be like about 15 points and to have that kind of 23.4. On the year they move Poole, and he's looking like exactly like the light version of Poole. So will be interesting to see will this translate in the regular season, or will he even get the minutes? But yeah, I really liked what I saw from him. He was hella fun to watch.
I'm excited to see if part of the motivation to trade Poole and just get off the contract was we have this guy coming up who we think is going to do a great job. And if we give him some minutes, we give him a buffer year with Chris Paul, contract expires, then Quinones can step up and play at the NBA. I wonder if that will come into play at all. I want to talk to Jabari Smith because we were texting about his first half, and there were some Anthony Bennett comparisons, and now he's shot up in MIP betting odds, and he's at plus 3,000 now, which I don't really like that number, but it's just crazy that after that first half he had in the first game, he has been unbelievable since then, and
Yeah,
he's leading
guys.
summer league in scoring.
Yeah. Guys, don't bet this.
Yeah, I agree. Do not bet this. I completely
Second year
agree.
player are not getting this reward. Yeah.
Let's finish off with some disappointment. Actually, before that, I wanted to talk about Chet Holmgren because he has looked excellent as well, and he kind of fits into that. I mean, OKC in general have looked great, but
Yeah. Everyone.
Holmgren in particular, it's kind of the same as Victor. We talk about his offense, but this is another guy who has DPOY capabilities going forward, and he just swallows up stuff at the rim. So a lot of time, these bigger guys, lanky guys, their problem is they can't play defense. They're slow-footed. They get beat too easily. That's what kind of hinders their ability to stay on the floor, but that's not going to be the case for Chet and for Victor.
Yeah.
But some disappointing ones. We talked about Brandon Miller, but another one you wanted to mention before we go is AJ Griffin. Now, when a second-year player really struggles in summer league, that is concerning, and AJ Griffin for the Hawks has fit that.
Yeah, small sample size though, but he scores 6 points a game on 27% from the field. Couldn't get anything going, which is kind of weird because like it's terrible when second year guys are not showing great in the summer league, but he did show great in the regular season of the NBA last season. So that's kind of interesting. So we'll see where it goes from next season. But I expected so much from him. I expected him to completely dominate the summer league because of his offensive capabilities.
Yeah.
But maybe playing with Trae Young, he's more valuable than we think.
That's a good point. I said I'd talk about the Raptors, so I'll end on that. They brought a horrible roster that doesn't showcase Grady Dick's talents enough. Grady Dick has looked okay, but they brought a horrible roster. Only one initiator on offense, which is Marquise Noel, who's 5'7". He's looked pretty good. He's a great playmaker, great pick and roll handler. But the problem is, if he is not hitting his deep threes, he is not scoring because he cannot score on the inside because of his height. Like, with all due respect, he's a phenomenal player. It's just the height. He can't score on the inside. If he's not hitting threes and stretching out the floor, then he's not going to be scoring much. But I'm interested to watch him in the G League going forward. And Moses Brown, who I made fun of privately with Pips because this is his 5th season. He's still playing Summer League. And this is his, I think this is his, I said it's his 7th team. It actually might be his 8th team because he may have spent another Summer League somewhere. But anyways, he's looked pretty good. And I think he actually might take a roster spot for the Raptors this season. So I'll give my credit to him. Yeah, go ahead.
I like Moses Brown. I'll say, like, he's still fantastic.
I do too. I have liked him for years. I just kind of was roasting him.
His size is just unbelievable, and he moves pretty well for his size. He's great, amazing rebounder and good in drop coverage. So if he's playing to his strengths, if he's played to his strengths by the coach, he could be a playable guy.
If anything, G League talent to play pick and roll sets with Marquise Noel, I think could be interesting one to look for. But with the Raptors having Koloko in the pipeline, don't know how much that will interfere with maybe if he has to play in the G League. So Raptors have, all I know is the Raptors brought a horrible roster, and that makes me pretty goddamn upset. But I think we've covered everything we've needed to cover here for today's video and for the podcast for listening over there. So drop a like and rate and review 5 stars if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more content like this, and also make sure you're following wherever you get your podcast. And me and Pitts will see you very soon for some more NBA content, part of the Hammer Betting Network.